Good
Good
morning.
afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday afternoon Meet the Atheists segment. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to the channel and to introduce you to Reggie. How are you doing, Reggie?
Good, Dean. How are you doing today?
Nice, man, nice. I'm always amazed. You know, you can go to any country in the world. There are people who don't buy the bullshit. It's insane.
Right.
People always told me, you know, the funny thing is the reason we started this channel is because our critics here in South Africa once told us, you know, all atheists are these old white men sitting in libraries. So I said to myself, that is not the case. That cannot be the case. It's
That's
impossible.
not the case.
There has to be people all over the show that's not buying the bullshit. So, let's jump into it. I've got a couple of questions here that, I just want to run through just to get an idea of, your journey and for our audience to meet you. And afterwards, don't forget to send me the link to, I believe you guys are also starting a new channel up. So,
Yes.
be sure to send me those details and, we can talk about that a little bit later. But just tell us about your background, Reggie. Did you grow up in a religion? What was that like for you?
Yes, absolutely. I grew up in Christianity, as most Black Americans do. Yeah, I was literally baptized in dirty water because it was probably about like the fifth person in a row in a little dirty pool. I was probably about 10 years old. My father is not that religious. He's really not religious at all, but he comes from a religious family himself. My mom's family is super duper religious. They believe in all kind of crazy stuff. Hey, Afro.
Right. So, what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you? Can you describe that journey for us? Because a lot of people, for me, it was a death by 1,000 cuts. You've heard that story about the little bird that goes to the statue and every day it pecks on the statue, and after a while, the statue is completely gone.
Well, I would say like it was a little bit of both. It kind of was a straw that broke the camel's back, but I think it was kind of a gradual thing too. And I'll explain. Okay, so when I say it was gradual, it started with me really understanding the situation in Palestine, because in the United States we're under a spell. We actually think that somebody's doing something to these Israeli people. Like we're taught to like, oh, it's so sad what's happening to these people in Israel, but it's censored to fit a certain narrative. So when I really, really found out what happened, and I started thinking to myself, what is the odds of a person being Caucasian from the Middle East? What's the odds of that? Not very likely, right? But then I said, well, the Palestinians had to been here because they're Arabs, right? I said, so they're the victims in this situation. Then I started meeting a lot of people that were from Palestine that work at stores and things like that here. And they started telling me some of the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. So they were telling me that they was being held hostage. They don't got no airport to leave. They were telling me that they're covered on all four corners. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? And then once I started really seeing it, I started questioning it. So what really broke the straw that broke the camel's back was TikTok. So
Right.
I never had a TikTok before. I'm in my 40s. I'm a grown man. I don't get into stuff like that. And I decided to get a TikTok about a year and a half ago. I say within about a week and a half, I seen an interview of this guy, and he started talking about what is his name? Pope Eugenius the Fourth.
Mm-hmm.
And what he started saying, I didn't really understand. He was saying that he's kind of the one that gave the Portuguese consent to start chattel slavery. And then when I looked into it and I found about other popes, it was over with, man. It was over with.
Mm-hmm. there's that saying that that goes, you know, when you as soon as you know how sausages are made and what the ingredients are, you lose your taste for them.
Yes, yes, yes. I started thinking, like, even if this is true, I don't
want a part of it. Yeah,
I don't want no parts of it. Like, so no.
That's crazy. So, was there a specific person or an organization that was, you know, influential in your deconversion? Where did you just discover this information on your own, or were you following some outlet? Or
Well, I just started questioning, like, all the stories, and, like, once I started putting those two things together, I started questioning every story I ever heard in the Bible. So I started with the Virgin Mary birth. Would I believe that story? If somebody came and told me this story, if it was any other circumstance, would I believe the story? Hell no. Hell no. Would I believe it? No. Would I believe that a whale swallowed somebody and the person lived 3 days, or however that BS story goes? Would I believe that? No. Can a person split the Red Sea? No. Even if they could you walk 1,400 kilometers? I don't even know the conversion because we don't use kilometers.
yeah.
But I know you can't do that. You can't.
Yeah.
So.
But you have to have faith, Reggie. You know, it's you gotta have faith because you know, lean not on your own understanding.
And he's the shepherd. That's all telling you to be stupid. It literally is telling you to be a damn fool. And you don't realize that when you're religious, but when you look from the outside looking in, you're just like, this is crazy.
But you know, the funny thing is, now that you said you don't realize it when you're on the inside, that's the thing is because we are conditioned in that environment, you know, because everybody around you is believing it, everybody around you is towing the line, everybody around you is saying this is true, so of course you are, you know, you're naturally going to fall in line. We've learned when we were living on our ancestors learned, I should say, when they were living in the bushes hunting for their food, they learned that the person who didn't fall in with the other guys, that's the one that was going to starve and die because nobody's going to look out for him. So now in the modern age, we still have that mentality where we just follow and agree with every single thing that is popular, that is, you know, that are, you know, that's accepted by the group, and it's I think it's you know, it's a new era in our species that we are actually breaking free of that, because you see a whole lot of new ideas, some of them good, some of them not so good, but a whole class of ideas is coming out, and it's fascinating to watch that.
I agree.
So yes, so you know, speaking for myself, when I realized that I was conned and that I was fooled, I was fuming. I was so angry. And you know, I believe a lot of atheists find themselves in that situation. Now, sure, that anger subsides over a period of time, you know, and you grow less and less angry, and but a lot of people get inspired by that to pour their energies into activism, and activism can be something as little as you know, just speaking out when religion comes to you. Some people voice their opinions online. Other people are a bit more, you know, proactive and go protesting. Are you involved in any kind of activism, or you know, how do you dissent from religion?
Yes, absolutely. Every person that comes in contact with me, whether if it's in person, if it's online, if it's you, if it's your mom, I'm gonna say it the rest of my life. Listen, and I'm gonna tell you why. People always ask, like, well, why don't you just find something else better to do? Why don't you just let people believe blah 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 blah? Well, I have some very good reasons. I'm gonna show you. Okay, number one, Black people in the United States, we are the poorest minority in the United States, right? Hold on, excuse me, my screen's going away. So that means we don't have no money for nobody's church. We don't have no money for nobody's church. We don't have time to be going to church, revival, Bible school, cleaning the church. None of that. None of that. None of that. If we were out working somewhere, doing something constructive or something worthwhile, we would probably be able to get out that situation. We also are the biggest consumer in the United States, which means we spend the most too. So you mean to tell me that I'm supposed to work my ass off 40 hours a week, then give a pimp my 10% of my money or whatever it is I give him? No.
He's a pimp, and the hookers are invisible.
Yes. Then listen, he's getting off tax free. Well, I gotta pay taxes and he don't. That's not fair.
He's pumping the invisible hookers. You get the hookers after you die.
Right. And then if you think of the way that these religions was brought to us, think about the way they was brought to us. They was brought to us through chattel slavery or colonization, however you look at it. They're not even written in a language that a black person can actually naturally speak. So what are y'all doing? What are you doing? The religion don't like you itself. It says racist things about you in the damn book. So I feel like what I'm doing is freeing people's mind. Think, read. That's all you got to do. If you read the shit, you'll know it's fake. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't.
Exactly. But this is the thing that really, because I live in Africa, and we see firsthand, not only in our own country, but if you go up north, religion gives people license to behave very, very, very badly.
Yes,
and it puts people in a pseudo position, a position of pseudo power over other people, because in our cultures, people revere preachers. People who they're considered as these paragons of virtue and the best moral beings that you'll find in your community. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they are, you can just Google pastor sex abuse or pastor allegations, and the stuff that you find is simply, it's jaw-dropping. It's really jaw-dropping. So, what fuels now that what gives your life reason and meaning now that you don't have God? Because, how can atheists possibly have meaning to their lives?
That's a great question. And I tell people this all the time. Sometimes I wish I still was under the belief. And the reason why is because it kind of was a crutch when, times get bad. Oh, Lord Jesus, come save me, Lord Jesus. I can't do that now because I can't pretend to be stupid. If I know something's not true, I'm not going to waste my time. I can't pray. I can't do none of that shit. But what I can do is focus my time on getting me some money. That's what I can do. I ain't got time to be sitting there bending over, praying, and all that. I ain't got time for that. I realize that I'm God by definition. I make my destiny. What life is going to be is because of the work that I put in. I can't depend on nobody else. I don't got no friend that's going to bless me and give me anything. It's all me. So.
Yeah. That's such a striking thing that you say. I remember speaking to Dr. Leo Igwe, and he said that religion teaches us to be helpless. It perpetuates that cycle of helplessness, and what atheism or freedom from that school of thought gives you is agency. It gives you agency over your life and over your decisions. And that, the first time I heard that, I said to myself, I always knew this, but to hear someone verbalize it and just to put it in these clear terms and that I can, see in front of my face, I was going like, fuck, that's true. Religion teaches us to be helpless, to like you said, cast your worries and your fears onto the Lord, and it never teaches you to be self-reliant, and it also teaches you that it creates a victim mentality almost. You're always the victim of circumstances and the victim of your life, and it never teaches you to take responsibility and to take action.
at all.
That's insane. And the funny thing is now, in retrospect, I said to myself, "Fuck, you were so stupid. Why did you believe all this bullshit?" But
That's
then
exactly how I feel.
and it's strange. It's strange. So, we've touched a little bit about how religion impacts people, but can you you talk a little bit about the negative impacts that you've experienced from religion? Now, people always, when I say to people, because I've talked in my friend circle a little bit about religious trauma and how it affects people, and it's actually a psychological condition where the harm that religion does. People always think, oh, where did the priest touch you, or like, why are you so loud? And but the thing is, it changes the way that we think about ourselves. It teaches us, first of all, that we are not worthy of love, that we're not worthy of being seen or being noticed, that we are just filth under God's feet. So it's that I think is the most damaging aspect of religion. It's just the way that it denigrates people. But I'm very interested to hear if you've had any negative experiences from religion.
Well, one for sure, and I never really was the super duper religious person. I never was the person that constantly went to church, but for real, I want all my damn money back, every penny of it. Listen, I don't care. I don't care if the grand total was $100 for my life. I need that right now, right now. So that's one negative effect. And like I said, the time and all that shit that I spent throughout my childhood and all that, I missed out on stuff. I probably could have been at the carnival somewhere, amusement park. I could have been any damn where except for church, which is a waste of my damn time. So, like, nothing ever really like physically like happened to me. But again, I did waste a lot of my time going to church and wasting my money. So I want it back. Bottom line.
And it's strangely enough, time is the only resource that you cannot recover.
Facts.
You can always get your money back. You could always go and do something new, build yourself up. But time is the one thing that you will never get back. And man, they keep you busy. They keep you busy. Every Sunday, there's Bible study during the week. And all of this nonsense.
I just don't. I don't understand as a black person how we could naturally think that we're unworthy of something. Especially, when you look at the scientific aspect of it, that Africans was the first people on Earth. So why would you let something that came and colonized you tell you about God when literally they couldn't have been there? You get it? It doesn't make sense. And then we have a big population here in the United States of they call themselves Hebrew Israelites. They feel like they're the real Jewish people, right?
That's that crackpot Farrakhan's movement, isn't it? He's the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, he's a Nation of Islam. They're different. They're different. But with them, see, this is the thing I don't understand about them. If you're the real Jews, right? Now I know a little bit about religion now, so there's no hell. There's no hell. So why are you doing all this? Why are you believing in Jesus and you're a Jew at the same time? Yeah. Which one is it? They're confused. They're confused. You know what I'm saying?
So, what advice would you give to somebody who's now at that stage, and they're questioning it, and like, fuck, was it really like Mudman and Ribwoman in the garden with the talking snake and the zoo boat and and all of that? Like, what advice would you give to somebody that's questioning their religion at the moment?
That you're not stupid. I'm talking directly to a person that's questioning their religion. You know that you're not stupid. You know what you think in your mind is right, and that book is a lie. How can any book written thousands of years ago tell you anything about your life? They don't even know the stuff that you know. These people were very ignorant on everything, on disease, on religion, on worldviews, on slavery, on what's morally right, on what's acceptable when it comes to relationships. There's nothing that's really provable in these books except that the Romans existed. That's the only true thing I can think that's in these books. So come on. It just doesn't make sense. And the reason why it doesn't make sense is because you know in your mind and your heart it's a lie. And it is.
Mm-hmm. If religion is fake and fairy tale and nonsense, why is it that no atheist cannot produce evidence of the non-existence of God?
The same reason why you can't produce the evidence of God, except for saying in the Bible it says God has never verified himself. Never.
Yeah. Well, you see, this is the funny thing is because this type of comment where somebody says, well, you prove that something does not exist. Well, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. So let me learn from you, because you, our learned friend, gives us a perfect methodology. So I want you to take a God that you do not believe in, for example, Ahura Mazda, or the God of the Incas, and show me how that God does not exist. And then I will use your methods for your God. Done. Easy as pie. So you do not go about proving that something does not exist, because you cannot do that. You have to prove that something actually exists in the first place. Otherwise, I can ask you to prove that I don't have pink invisible unicorns living in between my hair. Can you see these luscious locks of hair that I'm growing here? And in between the hairs, we've got unicorns and Care Bears and Tinkerbell. They're all living there. Can you prove now that does not happen? That's not the case. So we got sidetracked there. It's that Christian love. You just you'll never get enough of it.
Right, my favorite.
So what was the fallout zone like? Like I think especially in the Black community, there's a big fallout zone where when somebody steps out of line and says, I don't believe it. What was your family's reaction like, and how did they take it?
So listen, I mean, like my mom and my sisters, they're religious. So them, they're like, oh, you're gonna go to hell. Don't say that about God. But they weren't really like real adamant about it, because they know who I am. I'm very outspoken, and I don't care what you believe. But I do have other family members and other friends that refuse to be friends or family with me. That's fine. That's fine. That shows me that you're fake. Jesus said he didn't come to bring peace, but to bring the sword, to turn brother versus brother, etc., etc., etc. So he did his job. He did his job. If you love this, listen, especially the person that's down there making them comments, this go out to you and my family. If you love this imaginary Jew more than you love me, fuck you. Period. We're no relation to this man. We're no relation to this man at all, even if it is true. And it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you experience a significant shift in your worldview after you abandoned religion? A lot of people report that they stopped being judgmental, and they've gained bigger empathy for other human beings, because religion likes to create a us versus them mentality. It's always the good versus the evil, the God versus the devil. And did you find any significant shift?
Yes, because in the United States, again, there's a lot of Israeli propaganda. You're born into Israeli propaganda. You are born thinking that these people are special people and that these people are better than you. And if you say anything about them, it literally is illegal to tell the truth about them. It's illegal in this country. So my religious view and my worldview is totally different. What those Israelis are doing is beyond crazy. It's beyond war crimes. If you just take a map and look at Palestine in 1948 and look at Palestine now, you've completely erased these people. You've completely erased these people. And again, Christianity is real big here. It's real, real big here. And in that religion, you're taught to respect these imaginary people. So I've always thought, again, that Muslims and Arabs are, even though I don't agree with their religion either, it's just as crazy. I've always looked at them as the aggressor in every situation. And it's not true. And I know that people look at me as the aggressor too, in every situation. And so now when I look at it, it's just like, it's just all fake. It's just all fake. And you just got it set for these people to eliminate another race of people. And it's crazy.
Yeah. Look, I've got such mixed feelings about that whole conflict in the Middle East, because on the one hand, I agree 100% with what you said, but on the other hand, if you go south of that area down into Africa, where Islam has actually set roots, it is a very pernicious ideology that infects people in a very, very weird way. When Muslims are few, they come with all, they come with hands out, peace and love and everything. And then when Muslims are in the majority, it's a completely different story. So I have very mixed feelings about that whole conflict. I'm just eternally grateful that it's not really affecting my life where I'm sitting right now. But I think it is going to, there's going to be very, very interesting things happening in that side of the world that's going to affect a whole lot of other, there's going to be fallout, concentric zones of fallout as that conflict and everything gets resolved. Because at the moment, I think the world is very dependent on that region, firstly for oil. It's one of the major, not per se from there, but I mean, there's going to be a ripple effect. If something bad happens to those people in the one area, it's going to antagonize all the neighbors, which are the oil producing countries. And it's probably going to have a very big knock-on effect. But I'm really ignorant about the history and everything that's involved there, so I'm just having a very superficial opinion that I've gleaned from the news and everything that I've consumed online.
So I agree with the Islam part. And what I'm saying is I'm not siding with Islam in that situation. Yeah. I'm siding with human rights. I don't care what they believe. They don't deserve to die in the name of a book. Now, you are 100% correct. Islam, I do not respect Islam in no way, because it enslaves Black people till today. It still does. So I don't agree with that. So I definitely understand that. But to bring you up to speed on the Palestine situation, it's really kind of a simple situation. So in World War II, right? All the victims of the Holocaust that could get away from Eastern Europe, the UN, the United States, and Great Britain decided to send them to Palestine. And the reason why is because we all know that Great Britain damn near colonized the whole world. That area was a British colony, bottom line.
There was some treaty or something that they had with, I don't recall the name exactly, but there was some treaty that, that gave them a piece of land there that they...
But we're right. But that right then and there, that's when you was wrong. Because why would you take a particular group of people from Eastern Europe and say, here, you can come here. Anybody that's here, you can get rid of them and kill them. Ever since that happened, they've been in conflict. If you look at the map of Palestine in 1947 and look at it now, it's called Israeli occupation. And I'm going to tell you something else I know that you don't know. If you are a citizen of the United States and you are a Jewish person, right, a white Jewish person, at any time you want, you can be like, I'm moving to Israel. You can go over there, find a person that lives in Palestine in their house, make them move out, and it's yours. These are facts.
Yeah.
These are facts.
there's been a lot of people have drawn a lot of similarity. There's people call it, like here in South Africa, we're intimately familiar with apartheid. And
Apartheid. That's
how,
what it is.
yeah,
That's what it is.
and I've heard people liken it to that. I'm not exactly sure if I understand it correctly, but yeah, it's a very volatile situation, and it's a very volatile issue as well. A lot of people get extremely heated, but like you say, I think what I really like about what you're saying is that it's a humanitarian issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's an issue of that we as humanists can really get behind, because even in war there are rules of engagement. There are rules of engagement. You don't go and bomb places where children or sick people or whatever is, and so I think there is the waters get muddied very quickly when people are in conflict, and things get justified which should not be. So I agree 100% with that. So
they have they've committed every war crime that there is. The president of Israel, is a wanted man in so many countries across the world right now. But again, Israel is covered. You can't fuck with them, and the reason why is because we'll defend them, and other places will too. So will Britain.
But it's God's chosen people, Reggie.
That's what I'm saying.
It's God's chosen people. They get a free pass here.
Get a free pass. And everything they get there is free too. They get free education, free college, free healthcare, free everything. Guess why? Because the Americans, we pay for it with our taxes. We pay taxes for everybody over there to have everything fucking free. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. So, have you encountered any misconceptions about atheists, especially where do you get your morals? You don't have morals, and you have naked parties on full moon where you dance in the woods, and and then go to sex orgies, and because you hate God.
Listen, the first one that I always get, but I get those ones too. The first one that I always get is that you're a devil worshiper. You're with the devil. Listen, don't nobody believe in the goddamn devil but Christians and fucking Muslims. That's number one. And then they say, "Oh, you hate God." Okay, I hate Pinocchio. I hate the Little Mermaid. You know what I'm saying? I hate Mickey Mouse. How can I hate a fucking fairy tale? Then with the moral thing, I always say, okay, so is it morally just to rape a girl and give her dad 50 shekels of silver? I'm like, so I get my morals from what I think is right and wrong. I get my morals from, okay, so I don't want a person to do this to me or my family, so I'm not going to do that to them. It's just that simple. I don't need a book to teach me nothing. And like I said, the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, none of them are morally justified, in my opinion. So I get my morals from myself.
And there's some awful shit in there as well.
Yeah. It's all kind of rape, murder, and all kind of crazy stuff in there. So I can't get it from that.
Yeah. A book that tells you how to treat your slaves.
Right.
Should definitely. I don't count that as anywhere in the top 10 or even the top 100 for any moral values. Somebody once said to me, it's like the Bible is a bit like dropping a coin or a money or bill into a pile of shit. You can go and get it. That's like the good things. The good things in the book is like that. You drop a pearl or a ring or something in a pile of shit. It's in there, but do you really want to go and look for it? That's the question.
Yeah, the Bible is the craziest book ever besides the Quran.
Yeah.
They're neck and neck.
I know. The thing is, I've always got my thing with Muslims is whenever they start talking about the Quran, I want a Muslim to explain to me how does they have this mythical beast, right? And they'll always come to you and they'll it's called the Burak, and it's this winged horse upon which the prophet flew to heaven, right? So, so whenever they come and speak about logic or truth or anything that's scientific, there's scientific facts in the Quran, then I say to them, please explain to me the science behind the Quran. Explain to me the science of Burak. How does that fucking animal float? Where can I find one? I want to see one. And then it's crickets. You can hear, it's the easiest way to get peace and quiet from the Dawa boys. Because, the Dawa boys, when they get that Ramadan in them, and or when somebody says Alhamdulillah or Inshallah, the dawah comes out in full force, they can't help it.
Lately, I've been having fun with them.
Yeah, they cannot help it. It's their nature.
Yes.
How can you be angry at something for expressing its nature? That's the nature of a disease. It's going to infect people.
Mm-hmm.
The nature of a religion is that it's going to, so you cannot be angry at it, but you have to be very, very clear about your boundaries.
Mm-hmm. So with Christianity, I say that, especially with Black people, well, anybody, I say that they got a strong case of Jumonia. With Islam, I haven't came up with a term for that yet. But you are right. I have been having real good fun. Listen, I've been having a lot of fun with Muslims lately. And you know what I've been picking with them about? The jinns. Do you know about the jinns? Oh, listen. It's me and Afro, we have a good time with people with those jinns. But I hate when you get the Muslims that don't believe in the hadith. That pisses me off. But the jinns, oh my God. I'll be like, do you pray before you go to the toilet? Do you stick your left leg out first? When you get off, do you use your right leg? Oh man, I'll be getting them good. And they don't they sleep on their back because if they sleep on their stomach, a jinn I go up in them. Oh man, I'll be
But at the end of the day, this is what we can do. It's religion is such an imposition. You have to joke about it in order to not go crazy. You have to make fun of it. Excuse me. So let's talk a little bit about what is more believable to you, Reggie? Is it more believable to you that life happened on this planet via evolution and natural selection, or God said poof and it happened? What is more, what do you find more satisfying? Is it the scientific explanation or God did it?
Listen, it hasn't been evolution. And also you have to think that if you look at the stars at night, you got to realize those are like suns. So there's probably all kinds of planets around. There's got to be other forms of life out there. So it's not even logical to think that a sky daddy just made just us, because he don't talk about none of that other shit he did way out there. He don't talk about all the other solar systems and planets and and all that other shit. So we had to naturally evolve. That's the only logical answer. There is places in the world like islands, for example, that we know that life there evolved. You could literally prove the shit. Now that humans aren't from there, so that the humans had to have went there. So it makes sense if you really think about it.
I didn't come from no monkey. You might have come from a monkey. I didn't come from no monkey. I know my daddy is a monkey.
They don't understand the logic on that. And the way I try to break it down to them with that is with dogs. I'm like, listen, we know that dogs are descendants of wolves. We know that.
Yeah.
But you can see the change. You see, and I try to explain that to them, like, oh, well, no, I don't know. I'm like, well, you got 98% of their DNA. So explain to me how the fuck you're not an ape. Explain to me, because you are.
Yeah. I think it's just a very human centric way of thinking, of the world, and it's a complex topic. It's a very complex topic that's not very intuitive. So it's people know what they've seen and experienced through generations of lived experience, and the thing is that's too short a time to actually get any of this, for you to see any of this shit. Even if you're
Right.
even if you go back to when humans started speaking, that's still too short a period of time to notice anything significant. But
Right.
it's people they keep on hammering on this. Like, show me the evidence. Where does it happen? Where can I see? Where can I see a chicken that lays elephant eggs? I want to see a chicken that lays elephant eggs before I believe this shit. And they're like, really?
But they don't want to take that same criticism about their book, because there's nothing in the book that you could prove. You can't prove shit in there. Nothing. I've seen people try their hardest. You can't prove it. So I just don't get why people believe these fucking tall tales.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the positive aspects that you've encountered? I was so relieved not to be stressing about going to fucking hell every single day of my life. Every single day of my life, I was like, oh my God, am I going to do this wrong? And then God's going to be angry. And, what was some of the positive aspects that you've experienced, since deconversion?
Well, I kind of was feeling like selfish in a way, because even when I did believe, I didn't feel like going to nobody's church. I didn't feel like doing that shit. It wasn't entertaining. It's hot as fuck.
Yeah.
It's boring as hell in there. And then they always asking for money. I don't got time to be giving you my money. So I felt selfish, like, man, I'm going to go to hell. God ain't giving the Lord his time, man. That shit. I'd rather be out here smoking weed or whatever, whatever it is I want to do. And I felt selfish. And now it's just like, damn, I was right. So I got that off my chest,
Yeah. It's a relief. A lot of people describe it as a relief. Just a relief at being authentic, because just to be authentic and to say, damn, I'm so happy I'm not in that bullshit anymore. I'm just me. I'm doing my thing. I don't need any of that bullshit to feel like I belong somewhere or that I fit in somewhere. It's liberating. It's very liberating.
Yes,
people describe it as being freed from bondage, or being freed from like a mentality that keeps you locked in. And how do you engage with religious individuals now? Now that you're an atheist?
I try to start historically with them. That's what I try to show them the timeline and how the shit don't add up and like that, and it always turns into something else afterwards. But that's what I try to tell them, and then I tell them about the story of Israel. Like, well, Israel did not even exist until 1948. No, it was it. No. That's where I try to start with it at. Then I try to go to vocabulary. Well, the J didn't exist. Well, his name was Yahweh. Then I tell them, like, I'm learning new languages. Like right now, I'm actually teaching myself Spanish, right? So I tell them the first rule of translating the language is your name don't change. I don't care what your name is. My name is Reggie in every goddamn language on earth. Period. Mm-hmm. They don't want to take that. Then we move, like if I'm talking to, no matter what person, then it's the racism.
Yeah. So. The funny thing is, I always, whenever I encounter African Christians, I have to ask this question. I ask them specifically, what has white Jesus done for Africa and for Africans? Please take all the time that you need in the world. I'm going to wait. I'll give you can go and come back tomorrow or next week, but please go and look and come back and tell me what white Jesus and Christianity has done for Africa and for for Africans and for the African continent. Because I can tell you a lot, but I'm sure you're not going to like the direction that my conversation is going. And so please, please just go and have a look. Take your time. There's no pressure. Go and read it a little bit and come back. And I'm interested in actuality. So what's happening right now? So not what you think is going to happen after you die and you're going to live in a cloud and, sit and wash Jesus' feet for eternity. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in actuality. And I've yet to find a satisfactory answer because nobody, it doesn't have any utility. For an African person, Christianity has zero utility besides community. The only thing that it does is it creates a sense of community amongst people that feel, while only on Sunday, they only have that sense of community on a Sunday. Like where the Monday through to Saturday, that sense of community is gone. And every motherfucker for himself.
Right. Right. Listen, Dean, I'm telling you, this is the truth I'm going to tell you. We need more people like you, more white people, to tell black people the same shit because they don't believe it until you say it. They need to hear it. I'm telling you. And I'm going to push this video as much as I can. I'm going to put clips of you saying what you just said because they don't realize it until somebody else tells them. Because we're under this myth here too. I don't know how it is in South Africa, but we're under this myth too that Christianity started in Ethiopia, and that is the easiest fucking thing to debunk. That it is. And they really believe it. They really believe it. It's sad, man. It's sad.
Yeah. Well, Reggie, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, my friend. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time, for waking up early, for spending it with us here in South Africa. Please tell everybody where they can find you online if anybody wants to follow you, and also message me the link to your socials so I can put it in the description of the YouTube video afterwards.
Okay, definitely. Definitely follow me at Godless Reggie at TikTok. Same as it is on Friday. Follow me on YouTube. Today I'm actually launching my show. It's called Faith, Lies, and Confusion. I'm gonna have Afro Atheists on there as a guest and a couple other people. The first episode is going to be called "Is Your Religion Racist?" It's going to pinpoint some things that we were talking about right here, the curse of Ham. We're also going to touch on Islam, the racism in that as well. Check it out. I also do other podcasts on the same YouTube channel, Product of the 80s. We do politics, sports, popular topics every Wednesday. We also have another show. AAA Sports, we do sports as well on that same YouTube channel, Godless Reggie, or at Godless Reggie on YouTube.
Amazing. Thank you so much, my friend. Take it easy, yeah?
You too. Thank you.